Hello and welcome back to the Transform Awards North America 2025. I'm joined now by Todd Irwin, who is the founder and chief strategy officer at Fazer. Now, you guys have been shortlisted in a number of categories for tonight's awards. That's 5 altogether with 4 projects, which is interesting and quite an achievement in itself. I wanted to focus on a few of those clients that you're going to be shortlisted for tonight, and one of those is OnPoint. So perhaps you could tell me a little bit about them as an organization and the fact that they were a healthcare brand and you decided to change them into a cutting-edge AI-enabled platform. What does that mean, first of all, and how did that kind of inform the strategy?
They're an early stage startup. They've got early funding through private equity. They're just sort of looking to solve a problem in their sector, specifically with doctor burnout. And on that trajectory, AI showed up. At the same time, they knew they needed a rebrand. And so their original story around just like solving doctors' problems through traditional technologies, AI showed up to the table, and especially agentic AI. So that was a defining moment that they needed a refresh of their complete brand story. So essentially, we helped them figure out their business strategy as well and how they implemented AI into their technology solution and elevate the brand too. Like they had, they're a typical startup. They tried to do it themselves, right? Hire some local friends who, could design and write and create a brand for them. And then they realized they needed to elevate to something that was world-class and hire an agency. So that was the trajectory, yeah.
So that's the strategy itself. And how did that kind of evolve into the design? What does this specific brand with AI sort of, focus now look like?
I mean, I think like visually, we created this OnPoint code for them and created an icon that had like a full system that gave them the flexibility to create a lot of different products. We also created a naming system around that as well. And then as far as the strategy goes, I mean, we did what we do at Fazer, which is we analyze customers, right? Figure out what their pain points are. In OnPoint's case, it is doctor burnout. And it's actually not just doctors, just healthcare organizations in general. And that was their mission, but they weren't communicating it very well. They were talking more about features and all the different features they had, but they need to like land on one big idea, and a one big idea that solved the most important customer pain point, or what we call the hero pain point, which was coming up with a safety first platform. The thing about doctor burnout, it's so rampant globally, especially in America. Like doctor suicide rates are really, really high. Doctors are quitting. They're going to freelance. It's a real strain on society in general. They're on a mission to try to fix that. They've got something real. They just didn't know how to communicate it.
And so sort of a dark kind of backdrop, but since the rebrand, how have they been received by the wider world, both, externally and internally?
They're about to raise a lot of money. They've been on an upwards trajectory. It's been working for them. So yeah, we're excited for them. They have a lot of serious competitors. Big tech companies are now starting to invest in the sector in a big way, Microsoft specifically. So we'll see what happens with OnPoint. I have a feeling they're going to get some sort of acquisition is going to happen.
Ah,
That's
interesting.
a prediction, not actual knowledge.
Watch this space. So tell me a little bit about another project as well, Access. So a very interesting organization. Perhaps you can explain a little bit about them as well and why they came to you looking for help.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because the two founders there, very smart students from NYU Stern, a problem in the market. Really just people getting reservations at top restaurants in cities. And restaurants really not knowing how to handle those reservations. So they created a system a platform actually, where the brand, or should I say the platform, gives back to the restaurants. It's sort of basically like flipping Resi or OpenTable on its head, flipping it around. They too, same thing, right? Early stage startup, not knowing really how to communicate what their promise is, what their value is. And so we went through the same exact process that we take all our clients through, looking at customers, what are their pain points, what's the big pain point that Access solves. Last minute reservations at top restaurants. Actually, those tables exist, but you can't get them on those other platforms. So, yeah.
And I understand with this project, the tone of voice was actually quite important as well. So how did you merge the tone of voice and the design such that they kind of complemented each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's writing and designing. So once you figure out what the strategy is, it's all about coming up with a coherent messaging system. Our writers we have language strategy people. And the thing about strategists, whether it's visual or verbal, They got to be in the room together working. They can't be working in silos. We've been preaching this for decades when it comes to just, myself personally, just running agencies, getting people in the room together. We see it as the agency is like a band, like a rock band, right? The band has to play together. It's one of those things that when it comes to clients, it hurts clients because agencies tend to work in silos that way. That's how you create systems. Collaboration is how you create systems, visual and verbal systems that work together. So we run a lot of workshops to that point.
It's really interesting. And I've got to say, it's quite crazy the number of interesting clients you've been shortlisted for tonight's awards with. So let's move on to the third one now.
No.
That's Travely.
Oh, Travely. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about them.
Company. The founder of Travely recognized that everybody wanted to book travel on social media from what they see, and it wasn't possible. None of the big hotel brands were delivering on it. He figured out technology where you can book off of Instagram, or you can book off of TikTok. And for them, it was really simple. They had their strategy down. They knew exactly what they wanted to say. They just didn't know how to say it. Their whole business was built around solving the pain points. So we walked in not having to do too much research. They told us right away. So then it was just about elevating the visual identity, creating a verbal identity and messaging that was super, super clear, and then helping them integrate it into social media with their developer team. Yeah, It's a great brand. That's a really exciting brand. Love Travely. Yeah.
And I understand the design itself, or perhaps the strategy, was kind of centered or anchored around the idea of a paper airplane. So why does that kind of point to this spirit of adventure?
Fun, simple. We were looking at all different types of iconography that delivered on that sort of feeling, right, of travel. It just stood out to us, So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, while I have you here, it'd be remiss of me not to bring up your new book, Depositioning.
Yes.
I wanted you to tell me a little bit about that idea of depositioning, and if you could tell me a little bit about how you're able to reimagine those brands we just talked about, and the projects in general that come through Fazer, using that concept.
It started with, and I think I mentioned this on stage a few hours ago, it started with working with Verizon and a team at Deloitte that was working with Verizon. Them really giving us a hard time when it came to how we approach brand strategy and just visual identity in general, but mostly brand strategy. They thought that we were ruining their business strategy by taking the focus off the solution that they found specifically for Verizon for them to create products around, right? And the way they approached that was through pain point solutioning. We took that at the time, this goes back over a decade ago, and we said, okay, that's great. Now we know what the business is going to be. Let's make it stand out, right? Let's differentiate. Let's create something, And they called us out for being super fluffy, and they were like, "Don't do that." And so we got into the room with them. We figured out that most of our industry is really focused on what they called soft strategy, and that's actually in the book. We took notes. We started to develop methodology around it. We shifted from focusing on getting brands to stand out and differentiate, and focusing on pain point solutioning. And as soon as we started doing that and working with clients, it was like a breath of fresh air for them. And we actually started seeing results. That's where it started. And then we created a system, and we've been doing it now for a decade. It's been wonderful. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I highly recommend everyone gets their hands on Depositioning. What's the book's full title?
Depositioning, the secret brand strategy for creating competitive advantage.
It's out on the 4th of November in the US, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Todd, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck tonight.
All right. Appreciate it.